All right, everybody, welcome back to the OffBeat Sports Podcast. Today we're joined by Ian. You may have seen him on TikTok. He's got a great following on there. Makes a lot of Celtics TikTok, so I thought I'd invite him on the show today to talk some Celtics. So welcome to the show, bud.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so we're gonna start talking Celtics, but I heard you have an announcement to make. So if you wanna talk a little bit about that, we can do that before we start.
Yeah. So my announcement is that I'm joining the Celtics Weekly Podcast. It's a group of guys. Shout out to Rob and Justin for having me on like an episode of their podcast one time, and then they said the other day they're like, "Hey, do you want to join the team in total?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm 100% down for it." So
yeah, that's awesome. We'll have to get some collabs going.
Oh yeah,
get some collabs going. There we go.
You can probably set that up.
Yeah. So we'll start off with some Danny Ainge, Brad Stevens, because that was a big thing that's happened lately. I mean, Danny Ainge is out. Brad Stevens is moving up. He's done with coaching. He after the last bubble, he kind of was fatigued with the whole coaching thing. So how do you feel about him moving into that front office position?
I'm not gonna lie to you. When it first happened, I didn't really know like what to think about it, because I'm like, all right, so we just lost our head coach and our GM, but our head coach is about to be our GM. And so like I didn't really know how to think about it at first. And then I thought about it more, and I'm thinking like, all right, well, he knows a little bit about recruiting players. He was a college coach, so he must know a little bit about that. So I mean, I'm feeling a lot better with it. I feel like he'll do a pretty good job. He's a pretty smart guy too, so I feel like he's got a good chance.
And I feel like with Brad and Danny, I feel like they've been working on this for a while now. I mean, because Brad's been in on everything, like every deal, everything they've been doing. So I think they've been grooming him for a while now. I don't think the players knew, and I don't even know if they knew, but subconsciously they were definitely grooming him, knowing he was going to make that step. And I think honestly, like at first I was definitely confused, and I was like, oh, what? Like this is weird. This is random. And I was like, we're going into one of the biggest off seasons of our recent history. And I was like, I think we need someone there like as soon as possible, because like this is going to be big. And I honestly like Brad. I think he's going to be better in the front office as he was as a coach. I was very anti Brad as a coach lately. And I'll tell you why. I mean, like I think I just didn't think he was good at getting his players to play with pride and energy. And I think that's why we struggled a lot, because I felt like a lot of the times players would give up. Like they weren't playing for the pride in themselves and the pride in the city. And like you always know what you're getting from Smart. You're always getting that. And usually he would boost up the other players, but I felt like they were just like they already got that so much that they need to bring in someone that's gonna revamp the whole team and get the team going again. And I didn't think Brad was that guy who's going to be doing that, because he doesn't yell a whole lot, and I think you need somebody who's an energetic coach. So,
yeah, I 100% agree with that. It felt like, especially like later on as the season went, it just felt like Brad's voice wasn't that much of a presence anymore in the locker room. It just kind of felt like everyone was just doing their own thing, and Brad was just there to do the rotations and just like to coach. It didn't really feel like he was trying to like lead as much as he normally did. So like I could see why Brad wouldn't want to coach anymore either. And he was talking about like his mental health and the bubble and stuff like that. So I understand that. And I really do think that he was probably getting primed to be the GM, because he is such a good guy, and he has such a huge basketball IQ that like you want to keep that guy around.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think he'll have a big effect on how they play still. And I think the coach is more just to get the most out of the players. I think his system, like the whole system, will probably stay similar, just because it like revamping the whole thing may cause some problems. But I think Brad will still have a big effect on this team, no matter what. And I like him in that position. He's a likable dude. So GMs will probably want to work with him. Players might want to engage and sign with a guy like that. And honestly, like going back to the energy thing and the pride thing, that's why I think like as soon as it happened, everyone was like, "Oh, get KG and the coaching staff," because They know he's one of those guys. Is like played with pride, has pride in the city, like, and that's why everyone's mind went exactly there. And I think similar thing with like a Chauncey Billups, like he was always a guy who had pride in his game and his team. So I think, and I like that. That's probably my top option, either him or like a Becky Hammond. Like even I'm not like huge on the whole Kara Lawson thing, bringing her back. I'm not huge because like I don't know if like that's proven yet. But Becky Hammond's proven. I mean, I heard that Tatum, like I heard recently, Tatum's a big fan of the assistant coach. Which may have an influence, but you never know. I don't like we don't know where they're going with it, but I think they need to sign one soon.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I'm 100% agree with you about Becky Hammond. I think she would be the perfect coach for this team. I feel like just the way the team is, I feel like she'll be able to get the most out of them. And she's a Popovich disciple, so she knows a lot about coaching. And she even said that sometimes when Pop was out, she would coach with Tim Duncan. And even Tim Duncan said that she was the one that did the coaching most of the time. Yeah. But yeah, she would probably be my top option. Her or I wanted Kendrick Perkins to be the head coach so badly. I wanted to just see what Perk would do. I think it would be hilarious.
I don't think he'd be a good coach, but I think it'd be absolutely hilarious.
Exactly. I don't know how good we'd be as a team, but it'd be pretty entertaining to watch.
Oh, it definitely would. He has no filter whatsoever.
Exactly. And also Sam Cassell, he could probably be a pretty good
option. That's another one.
I feel
That's definitely a good one.
I feel like Sam Cassell could really do well. And I don't know. They've been saying Jason Kidd, but
I hate that. I hate that so much. I think he's a god-awful coach. And the only reason they do that would be to attract Dame, I think.
Exactly.
I think Jason Kidd is a horrendous coach, and he was a good player. Horrendous coach. I don't think that is not where I want.
Not good. If we could get anybody else, I would prefer it. And I don't know if Dame is worth having Jason Kidd as a coach.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. I don't think he's a great option for us. But I mean, actually, we can kind of mold that into. Let's go to Dame talk. I mean. Is it realistic? I don't think so. I mean, I apparently Boston's like a big option if he does request a trade. But I mean, first of all, we need a coach before we make any sign. I think they need to sign a coach within the next few weeks before any free agencies, drafts, stuff like that. We need a coach. But going back to Dame, I think It could happen. I don't necessarily think it's like a realistic thing, just because like if we were trading for Dame, the offer would have to include at least Jaylen Brown. Would you give up 24, 25 years old, a 25-year-old Jaylen Brown for a 30-year-old Dame when you're breaking up a potential like dominant duo of the future of Brown and Tatum? Because like if you think about it, those two are very, very young players. So like the fact that we've got this much success this far gives me hope, because once those LeBrons, like the KDs, the guys like that are out of the league, like we're going to have one of the top duos in the league, and it's not going to be a top young duo. It's going to be the top duos and we just need to fill in the parts around them. And so like, would you give up a Jaylen Brown for a Dame? Like in Jaylen Brown plus a bunch of other assets for Dame?
No, I thought about it a lot, and I was thinking about how, like Tatum and Dame could work, but at the same time, I don't see it. I don't know how you as Brad Stevens can even think about trading Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, like breaking up that duo. I don't even know how you can think about it, just because Brown has so much potential, and the improvement that he's shown over his entire career so far is like amazing. It's more than anybody would have probably thought about it. So I would 100% not trade Jaylen Brown when it comes to a Damian Lillard trade. I don't know if Portland would trade Dame if Brown wasn't included, which I doubt, but if we could get away with it, then that would be cool. But I don't think we trade Jaylen Brown for Damian Lillard, as much as that sucks.
Yeah, and I'm very anti-trading Brown. I mean, like I decided to rep him tonight because I was like, I gotta show the support. But I don't think that I just don't. As much as I would love Dame, like that'd be awesome. If it did happen, I wouldn't be like completely angry because like Dame's a great player, and I think blowing up this team may make some waves and may help us a little bit, just revamping it. But I mean, I'm not a like Jaylen Brown. I love so like I think he's like sometimes like I argue with myself. I'm like, who would I rather have, Brown or Tatum? Like sometimes I argue with myself because like sometimes Tatum aggravates me so much, but then like I love the duo we have, and I think blowing that up, I like changing that up may screw us a bit. But my thing is, if you're gonna go for Dame, you got to get a third team in the deal, so we don't have to give up Brown.
Yep.
If you get a third team in the deal, we could dump off Kemba's contract. We give up a bunch of young assets and picks, and we could get Dame in some kind of 3-team trade. It's definitely going to be like a lot of trial and error, but I mean, there's definitely some options there, and I think it's definitely interesting to think about.
Yeah, I agree with that. If we can get a team like, let's just say we get a team like New Orleans, and they want to offload Eric Bledsoe or Steven Adams, or even a team like Miami, who is always like in with trades and stuff like that. So honestly, a 3-team trade would help the Celtics a lot when it comes to a Damian Lillard trade. It just depends on if they're willing to do that trade. Because I like the idea of 3-team trades. It's just it never feels like it ever happens. Like we always think about it and we always speculate it. It just never happens.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the Nets trade. I mean, that one was a pretty big one. So if you get a similar like structure to that one, like that was technically a 3-team trade that they added a 4th team to. Yeah. But you get something similar to that where it blows up and it just involves a ton of picks and assets. I mean, I'm good with getting like if we're getting Dame, because then if we're getting Dame, we're going into a win now situation. We're not worrying about those young assets. So because then you got a trio of Lillard, Tatum, and Brown, and then hopefully Robert Williams doesn't get shipped out in that, which he probably would if we're still in this hypothetical situation. He'd probably get shipped out in that deal. But like, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely like you're going to, if it's either you got to decide whether you're trying to win in a couple of years or you're trying to win now, because I feel like we've been teetering too much in the middle of trying to balancing our like getting solid young role players around Tatum and Brown and trying to get some players that can help us win now. Because that's where our problem is. So we had on one side we had Kemba, and probably, I mean, you could probably include Smart on either side, but like you have Kemba, you have Thompson, you have like, I can't even think of some, they're all young, but then you have all these young assets like Langford, Neesmith, Pritchard, Grant Williams, who I hate so much. Robert Williams. Pause. I will never understand why Grant Williams steps on the court and he's like our 7th man. If he was like the 10th man, he probably wouldn't get hated so much. But he's like our 7th man, and it makes no freaking sense. But going back to it, we have like we have like this balance between players that we're like trying to get to help us win now, and then some of these players that we're trying, you got to either building to win now or building to win in a couple of years. So because then players like Brown and Tatum will have a clear idea of what they're working with, and then they'll probably get on board and try and work like that. But they're aggravated right now. They got to be aggravated, and if they're not, that'd be ridiculous because they don't know what they're doing. Like they just signed big contracts. They want to know like what's going to be happening in these contracts, whether they're trying to win now or win in a few years. And I think you need with Brad's first thing after a coach is trying to figure out what that goal is. And if you want to win next year, great, go all in, on like that's what the Nets did. They got rid of all young assets, went all in on winning now. And that's what we need to figure out. And I don't know the right answer. I mean, you go either way, but you have to figure it out now.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And that's why it was such a big deal that Danny Ainge stepped down this year, because this was the pivotal year on well, this is before Danny Ainge stepped down, but this was the year that Danny Ainge had to decide whether he was going to go for it next year and become that super team, or he was going to trade Kemba Walker and just try to unload these assets and try to rebuild again. And that's the thing with that's the biggest dilemma that Brad Stevens has right now is Danny Ainge really didn't really set him up with the greatest idea, because it felt like in his last few years, it felt like he was just trying to make the move. He just kind of threw a bunch of things on a dartboard and he said, they'll hit eventually. That's why he never traded any of those first round picks. And that's why we have guys like Semi Ojeleye and Grant Williams and, even though I like him now, Aaron Nesmith and Romeo Langford, like that's why we have all of these guys on our bench, because he saw how good Tatum and Brown were and how good they were in the playoffs, like their rookie season, like that 2018 run where they had Rozier, Tatum, and Brown, and how they carried the Celtics. And they said, if we can just get more young guys, we can maybe hit the same lottery as we did back then. But
you're not getting that energy.
Exactly.
That's the problem. You're not, and this is another problem I have with the NBA is like there's no beefs anymore. Like you don't see the Trae Young thing was refreshing, but like it was just like you don't see the beefs like the Rozier Bledsoe like stuff. Like there's no they're all too friendly. Like I like seeing the aggression. It's like fun, but like you don't see like these young guys. They don't have the passion like to try and prove something. Like you get flat like Naismith or whatever like his name. Like you saw that from him all like that was a consistent thing for him all year, and it finally hit towards the end. Like he was always one of the hardest working guys, and that's huge. And that's why I'm into keeping him if you can, and. I love Pritchard. Honestly, I don't mind. I think Pritchard – I've been saying this. I think Pritchard might be like our point guard of the future just because like to pair with Tatum and Brown. He's not going to be a star, I don't think. Yeah. But he'll be a good point guard like a Holiday or like something like –
feels like a TJ McConnell type guy.
Yeah, like he'll work his butt off. He'll get you points when you need it. He can play make, and he does no problem sitting behind Tatum and Brown like in the spotlight. He's just doing his thing, like a Rondo. Like I don't want to compare him to Rondo, like because they're not the same player, but like he's gonna be there behind like the big name guys, and he's gonna contribute because you don't need a star point guard. It'd be nice to have a star point guard, but you don't need one. Like, and I don't know. I think because like you saw the Lakers didn't have like they had Rondo starting, or like they had Schroeder starting this year. Like you don't need a star point guard to have success. You need your big name guys to be like producing, and you need bench production. So I mean.
I 100% agree with that with Pritchard. Ever since like the first game, I loved Peyton Pritchard. Like I even bought his jersey. Like that's how much I believed in him and how much I believe he can really do, because like, even if he doesn't turn into, he's not going to be Steph Curry. He's not going to be Damian Lillard. He's not going to be Kyrie Irving, but he is going to be a solid guy that could either start for your team or he can come off the bench as just 3-point shooting, because you saw he could shoot from anywhere and he was going to make it. And honestly, that's what I'm really excited about him, is because it doesn't feel like the Celtics have had that guy in a while. So I'm pretty excited for the future with Pritchard. And the same thing with Nesmith. When he was turning it on, and I felt like Nesmith did that because Marcus Smart was out, and the Celtics needed that guy, that energy that Marcus Smart provided that wasn't there when he was injured. So I'm glad to see that Nesmith and Pritchard are going to be part of the future plans, hopefully, of the Celtics going forward.
And like with like Pritchard, I've issued numerous public apologies. I'll add another one for him. I would like to apologize to Peyton Pritchard. Draft night, I was very, very anti-Pritchard, and I was losing it on my story and everything, but he proved me wrong within the first week, and I now he's one of my favorite players on the team. I love his game, and I love his grit, and but like realistically, I mean, let's think about it. He was a little white point guard. I mean, that hasn't been popular since like Steve Nash. I mean,
No.
come on, like I think I had a little bit of like a right to do it, but I mean, he proved me wrong, and I'm happy about it. And I hope he doesn't get traded. So I mean,
No,
I like him.
Though. Our draft night, I didn't even know who he was. I'm not even gonna lie to you. When we drafted him, I'm like, who the heck is Peyton Pritchard?
Well, I knew who he was. Well, I knew who he was because I saw like the thing about him like winning the point guard of the year in college because I like somewhat follow college. Yeah. So I saw it and I was like, he's good in college, but like, will his game actually translate over? Because like, I mean, you don't see it a lot. Like, point guards in general are really tricky to draft.
Yeah.
Because you never know how they'll translate against like an NBA guard. Because NBA guards, once you get to the NBA, you have to be much tougher, and everything is like much more difficult, basically.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I love that he proved me wrong. That's all I gotta say. And I hope he continues to prove me wrong. And I hope he proves me right with the whole point guard of the future thing, because that would be so awesome if he produced enough to become our starting point guard. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about Kemba. So we've heard the stuff about him. Actually, it came out today about him having some like problems with age in the Celtics after the whole they tried to trade him for Drew Holiday thing, which causes problems anyway. But yeah. I mean, first of all, I think he needs to kind of like grow up, because that's just the way things go. Like if they try and trade you and it doesn't work out, like that happens. Like with that probably happened with like 10 out of the 13 guys we had. I mean, like Smart's been they tried to trade Smart like 20 times. And I mean, it just never worked out. And you don't see Smart like complaining about it. I mean, it's just he's a good trade asset. Like, but I think Kemba just knows he's not on the right contract. And I love Kemba. I mean, I love Kemba, and I think he gets way more hate than he should. I mean, obviously it's aggravating. He gets the injuries and stuff. But I mean, when he comes right back from an injury and he's not putting up 30, like people are like, "Oh, this is ridiculous." He probably put up like 18 a game. Like, what was this? Yeah. Like, but like people,
I think he averaged like 19 this year or something like that.
But that's pretty good. And that was that. And my thing with that's, I'll go back to the Hayward thing. People last year were like, "Oh, he's so bad. Like he'll never return to himself." He averaged 17 a game as a fourth option. Come on. That is. I mean, as a fourth option, a fourth scoring option, and you score 18 points or like 17 points a game. That's pretty good, and I'll take it. But like people get too greedy, and especially Boston fans.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think the biggest problem with Kemba Walker was, and I think it was just because he was getting paid so much money, and we remember what he did in Charlotte, like not even a couple years ago, when he averaged like 30 a game. And it's like, oh, we're going to get that guy. He's the guy that's going to be the next great Celtics point guard. And, he's going to be the future and the third option with Brown and Tatum and blah, blah, blah. But I think the worst part was, and I think it was more buyer's remorse, because we saw what Kyrie Irving was doing in Brooklyn and we're like, damn. That sucks.
And honestly, I hate Kyrie Irving more than anyone. I should have worn the T-shirt. I made T-shirts with like a bottle on it with an 11 on it, and we're selling them on our merch site.
Yeah.
So I bought one and it came yesterday. I should have wore it, but I'll wear it in my next episode. But it's an awesome shirt. But like, I hate him more than anyone. I hate him so much. The worst. Yeah. But I mean, phenomenal player, and I think he's either the best or like top 2-3 handlers of all time. And like, I respect his game, and honestly, if he came back to Boston, I'd hate him, but like from a basketball standpoint, come on. I mean, before the whole logo thing, I was like, honestly, I would probably trade Kemba for Kyrie right now, but like,
honestly, yeah.
Then after that, I'm not very like fond of him.
Yeah. So like my thing is that like I won't lie, when Kyrie left, I was happy he left.
I was too.
And then we signed Kemba and we're like, oh, Kemba is so much better than Kyrie anyway. He's just gonna take over what Kyrie does. And personally, watching Kyrie face the Celtics and watching Kemba Walker play against him, I was just like, man, we really had Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown all on the same team. If he came to the Celtics like 1 year later, when Tatum and Brown were what they are now, this team would be special. But I don't know. I think, and then like I hate Kyrie now because of what he did to the logo, and
Yeah.
But
I'll preface it. I do not think the water bottle should have been thrown at him. Horrible thing. And I think that's stupid because then it justifies everything he said about Boston. But like I think it had nothing to do with race. It was very clearly had nothing to do with race, and the fact that he tried to make it that kind of narrative aggravated me. And like, I mean, I don't think the bottle should have been thrown at him. I just like memeing him, so I made the T-shirts, and I like the memeing. I like memeing him, and I like making money. This is what I wrote in the description. I go, I don't condone the water bottle being thrown at him, but I like memes and I like money. So here you go. Here's a T-shirt.
Honestly though, I feel that like when I first saw, what's funny is I went to Game 4, and it like around like the last like final minutes of the game, my buddy was sitting down in the loge boxes, and it was right next to the Nets tunnel, and I was like, all right, so I moved down there, and I saw that guy before he threw the water bottle, because he walked by me like to get to the Nets tunnel, and like obviously I didn't think anything of it, but then I saw like the guy in the report, and I'm like, yo, I saw that guy. Like, I didn't talk to him or anything, but I'm like, I saw who that guy was. And I don't condone throwing the water bottle at all. Like, I mean, you can't throw things at players.
Yeah.
But and then I remember getting an empty water bottle the next day and just like had Juice WRLD Armin Dangerous on the background. Just hold that.
I was like, me and my friends throw like worse stuff at each other. Are we gonna get arrested for assault and battery with a dangerous weapon?
Yeah, for real. I don't know about assault with a dangerous weapon, but like, I mean, I can see why he got arrested. But
it makes sense. It makes sense, but like the way they like worded it was just so funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
All right, so big surprise for our offbeat listeners and like viewers and followers. Like, so someone is making their return right now. Harry's coming back. He's still at boot camp from the Marines, but he has his phone. He wanted to join us on today's episode, so we're gonna welcome Harry back. So here he is. Let's see the man making his return. Come on, Harry. Killing me, man. There he is. Harry, what's good? How are we?
I'm wonderful.
Welcome back. Welcome back, man.
I'm back, baby.
Harry, this is Ian. You've probably seen him on TikTok.
Hey, nice to meet you, man.
Hey, nice to meet you, man.
So we're talking Celtics. We've gone over Danny Ainge, Brad Stevens, Dame, Kyrie. Now I want to talk a little bit about this season. So, yep, I know you haven't been able to catch a lot, but
hey, man,
we're talking.
I miss like everything.
Yo,
but it works. I bought a PS5 today. Just hooked that shit up.
Yup.
You know the rest.
There we go. So, talk bench crew. So we got some options here. So we got Tristan Thompson. We got Peyton Pritchard. I don't put Robert Williams on there just because I feel like he's not.
You're gonna get traded.
I just don't think he's a bench player. He's a starter. So you got Naismith, Grant Williams, what a guy, Romeo Langford, and Evan Fournier. So out of these, this season, I mean, I'll give my take first. I posted on the OffBeat account. Best bench players from this season. So I'm gonna either go Pritchard or Thompson. And I'll give what. So Pritchard, I mean, he just was consistent. He was always consistent. Always gave a solid guard play off the bench. And He was able to command the offense and provide some spark when we needed it. He had that game winner against the Heat in the beginning of the season that we tend to forget about.
Yep.
Then I want to go Tristan Thompson, who was extremely overhated this year. And he kept getting, for some reason, they kept lumping him into the hate against Teague. And I was like, because for some reason, those signings kept getting lumped together.
Yeah, I didn't get that, yeah.
And I was like, but like Teague was terrible. Thompson always provided.
Can we talk about how garbage Teague was? Oh my God, bro! When they picked up Jeff Teague, I was like, "What are you doing, bro? Come on, it's Jeff Teague. You already know."
Well, then he had that first game where Kemba was out and he scored like 25 points or something.
Bang, bang, bang. I'm like,
and I was like, Teague. Oh, and then the next 20 something games, it was like, I was like, all right, where the hell are you go?
Man.
Bro, I swear to God, Jeff Teague could not make a layup to save his life.
Oh my God!
Literally, if his life was on the line and he had a wide open layup and all he had to do was make the layup, he wouldn't make the layup. Like, he literally could not hit a shot to save his life. He was so terrible.
Jeff Teague the entire season was Terry Rozier in Game 7 versus the Cavs.
And going back to Thompson, I mean, like, he kept getting lumped in with Teague, and I was like, but like, and nobody understands this. As like a basketball player and a fan of the game, like, nobody understands, like, especially Boston fans. Boston fans are some of the like most ignorant fans in the league. Like, when it comes to like the game of basketball, they want all these flashy stuff. Like, you don't get, like, a guy like Thompson is not some guy who's going to put up 15 points in 20 rebounds. Like, he's a guy who put up 8 points for you in 12 rebounds.
We're the most selfish fans in the entirety of the league.
Like, my thing is, like, he did his job. We brought him in to rebound and bring a veteran presence and energy, and he did exactly that. He was always hyping up our young guys. He was always on their train. He was always rebounding great. Like, the only time I saw him like kind of slow down was maybe against Embiid, but like, even then, I felt like he did pretty decent defense on him. He played pretty good defense all year. There was some games that you can say he didn't, but like, he always was a great rebounder. He'd always have energy. He was always playing with, especially in that net series. He was the only guy who consistently played with energy that I can confidently say. And
he gave it his all on like all quarters of the court.
But like, his veteran presence and energy was like the thing that our team lacked the most this year.
So that's all young dudes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's and I think if we had 3 more of him, we do way better this year. Instead of having those young guys, because this is what we were talking about earlier. They need to figure out what they're doing. They're either got to talk about winning now or winning in a few years, and right now they're teetering between that. And I think they need to pick one. And I think if you're going win now, get a few more Thompson guys. If you're trying to win in a few years, get like those young assets. But so we're now, if you guys want to talk about your best bench players, I mean, I kind of just gave a spiel, but Ian, if you want to go.
Yeah. So my best bench players, obviously, Pritchard. He defied all expectations and overachieved, and I'm really excited for his future. I loved what Aaron Nesmith did, like, when he got the chance, because I felt like Brad Stevens never played him enough. And like, that's kind of mostly on like the rotations and just how it went. So I felt like if Nesmith got more minutes, he probably could have proved what he proved earlier in the season. And then, like you said about Thompson, he didn't do that bad. For being what we signed him for, he did exactly what we wanted. Granted, he didn't pass the ball at all. Like, if anytime he was down low and he got a rebound, he never passed the ball or anything, but it wasn't the worst. And, that's pretty much the best players off the bench this season. We can also talk about the MVP, Grant Williams, the new Sixth Man of the Year on the Shanghai Sharks. So
yeah, that man is garbage. And the fact that he touched the floor, the fact that he touched the floor.
Hold on. Not the fact that he touched the court. The fact that he had like 18 minutes a game on the court.
Yeah, it made no sense. He was like our 7th man. Honestly, nobody would hate him as much if he was like our 10th guy, because it would make sense.
It would just be like, all right, he's in there because we need a guy in there. No. Brad's like, get our boy Grant in there. We need him. Like, Come on.
It was appalling, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" But yeah, continue.
But yeah, that was pretty much all my bench guys. Yeah.
If you good?
Yeah.
All right. Tell you. No, my bad. I just didn't want to interrupt you. So if I had to go for like, it's really not a competition, man. I mean, it's Peyton Pritchard. It's being that rookie like Preston that was like, all right, we don't even really like. All right, he's like what? We picked him 26th, 24th, 26th. What was it? And we had Neesmith, and Neesmith was like, everybody's like, all right, Neesmith's the guy. That 3-and-D shooter. That's what our scheme is. That's what we need. Somebody who's good on the pick and pop, which he did exactly that. When he got the ball, when he was on the 3-and-D, Aaron Neesmith shot and smacked his shots for the most part. You know what I mean? He did what we needed him to do. He was tall enough to the point where he could guard some forwards, but stuck to like the forward shooting guard position and just locked up, came back, popped some threes like we were suffering for the past 2 seasons. But Peyton Pritchard just took the offense into his hands. Being that young, being that like unreally noticed and like kind of like underwhelmed, like going in, like it's like, all right, we have this other guy, but we have Neesmith, but this other guy is also here. He came in and he's like, nah, like I'm the guy that you wanted in this draft. Like I'm the guy you looked for. When we needed somebody to come off the bench, sub out Kemba, or come off the bench, help out Smart, help out Jalen. He came in and did more than that. Like he came in, took the offense into his hands and said, all right, Brad, I got you. Let me do some shit real quick. Peyton Pritchard just overall looked phenomenal for a rookie and a very looked over rookie at that. Because you had phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal class this year. You got to think about who came in. We had Zion. Or no, shut up. We had LaMelo. We had who was the
Anthony Edwards?
Anthony Edwards. Yeah, big man.
Tyrese Halliburton, James Wiseman.
Obi Toppin. Who's a big man?
James Wiseman.
James Wiseman.
Tyrese Halliburton was great.
I would literally say Peyton Pritchard was top 5 of the rookie class.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5 of the rookie class at that, in a star-studded rookie class. Like, and we love guys like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like our short little like under the ropes, like can Steve and like swim moves, like getting underneath you, like just driving to the paint and getting in there, and like everybody's like, how did he get by? Like you have 7-foot dudes like sitting in the paint. How did this guy get by? And then him just jogging back like, yep, that's me. That's what I do. Like I loved it. When Peyton Pritchard hit the court, the game got fun to watch. You know what I mean? Yep. And so I could give it to Tristan Thompson because he did what we needed him to do. But hadn't he been selfish with the ball? If he wasn't so selfish with the ball, because the second he got a rebound, the second he got dished it in the paint, this is exactly what he do. Ready? Post right here, rebound, hook every single time. Every time. Everybody knew it was coming. He did it about maybe 90 times, at least in like 2 weeks, right? And it just came every single time and missed about 85% of the time. So you're like, okay, Thompson, love the energy, love the enthusiasm, but dish the rock out somewhere, please. So as a defensive player, he definitely took the cake for me, like for like off the bench, like rookie star-studded players. But Peyton Pritchard, man, he was just absolutely phenomenal. I loved watching him play, and that's what makes basketball fun. It's like you can be in a force, but then you can be an icon. You know what I mean? Like, what would you rather? Would you rather watch it and have it be fun, or just like, oh yeah, he's playing a good game? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So before we end this, a few more minutes, but I want to talk a little bit about some offseason potential acquisitions. So I'm going to go through a bunch of names. You tell me if you want them, or we'll talk about like if you think it's realistic, and if you want them, basically. So
I make my own first.
What do you mean?
Could I make my own, like, realistic, like, I want them, like, we could get them, like, opportunity here?
Yeah, sure.
Steven Adams.
I think it's realistic, and I think I wouldn't hate it. I'll say that.
Yeah, he's Tristan Thompson, but in my opinion, I love his game. You know what I mean? He's just the kind of guy that if you're going in the paint, he's literally gonna beat you up. He's not gonna shy away from it. You're coming near him, it's like shit. Nah, I got this guy to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ian, what do you think about
him? I mean, I honestly feel like Steven Adams would be perfect. And I mean, I know you're supposed to tell us all of the things, but I do have another person that could go along with Steven Adams.
Go for it.
If we can sign and trade for Lonzo Ball, and we can get Lonzo Ball and Steven
Adams,
Adams,
one of my lists.
Yes,
that is actually one of my lists.
For Kemba Walker, and throw in Tristan Thompson or maybe even like Marcus Romeo Smart Langford. At worst. But there you go.
Well, my thing. So my thing with Ball is actually he's on my list. So I think honestly he may not bring the energy that we need like in the pride, but LeVar would.
But it's Boston.
LeVar would.
Man, exactly, bro.
LeVar would get them going. He'd be like, this team's going to the finals. We got this.
I've always been a Boston fan.
My son's bringing him to the finals. He's a star. He's a star in this league.
Bro, imagine LeVar and Kendrick Perkins arguing at halftime on NBC Sports Boston.
Yo, oh man, that would literally make dude.
Abby Chin would be like, Abby Chin would just be sitting there like, oh my god. Chris Forsberg is just like.
That would be like, all right, so we're gonna take away some time from there. Let's talk more about how the bench is doing this year. The bar's just sitting there like, my boy's getting it. My boy's getting it.
All right.
Go ahead. Next one. I love it, but next one.
So I'm just throwing out all these names that are going to be hitting the free agency market, and I'll tell you what. So Kawhi has a player option. He could opt out. If he does opt out, is that a realistic player we could go after? No.
We what are we going to give? We're not. The only
it's a free agent. He's a free agent. It's not a trade.
I know, but like, what are we going to give? As in, like, money.
I mean,
what are we going to give to him?
If we dump off Kemba, we could pay him.
I mean, if he wants to take the veteran minimum, that feels like all the Celtics cap space is right now. So I mean, I don't know. It's not. I don't see it as realistic. And besides, didn't Kawhi's dad say like a few years ago, like when he was originally going to get traded, he didn't want him to play in Boston or something like that, or his agent said that.
Probably. I know AD said that.
Maybe with the new GM, who knows? But
yeah,
I don't know.
Chris Paul, he has a player option. He could opt out. If he does, let's assume they're opting out. Is that realistic?
Right now, right?
Yep.
No, Suns right now, right?
Yep.
I don't think he's not opting out.
If he does, let's just assume he's opting out.
All right, so assume he's opting out and we offer him a contract, he takes that 150% of the time. We'd have to get rid of Kemba, which is fine.
Yeah, let's also assume we're dumping off Kemba because that's pretty much been confirmed today.
Cool. Kemba's stock value has plummeted.
Yeah,
absolutely plummeted. It started with the hip injury at the very start of the season and just kept going down.
So
if we go ahead.
So I mean, we talked about Kemba earlier, but let's just assume he's being dumped off. So CP3, realistic or no? Yes, you say yes?
Yeah.
Ian.
I'm saying
I say yes. Yeah.
I definitely say yes. It's
CP3
realistic.
would be amazing with this team.
It would be awesome.
It would be beautiful.
So we already talked about Dame earlier. DeMar DeRozan. He's unrestricted free agent.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it. Do I think it'll happen? No, not a little bit. Not even.
My only concern with DeMar is that his 3-point shooting still isn't like the greatest. So,
but we don't need 3-point shooting if we have Tatum and Brown. We don't need them to shoot threes as much. So my thing is, I would go for DeMar because you also might be able to attract Lowry as well. And this is all assuming we dump Kemba's contract off, which means we'll have some cap space to work with.
All right.
I don't know how I feel. Like, I love DeMar as a player. It's just I don't know how I feel about him fitting in the system in Boston. That's just my concern with him.
Well, we don't know what the system's going to look like.
3-and-D type shit, man. Yeah, that's actually really true. Do we even know who our head coach is now?
No, we don't.
Yeah.
So
do we even know who's in the running for the head coach position?
I mean, there's way too much speculation. There's like 30 different names.
Kidd.
So
give it to the kid.
We talked about Lonzo. These two, I don't think they would come here, but these both have player options, Ibaka and Trez. Both of them I would actually like if they had, because those are both super energy guys, and I would love to have them.
I feel like Serge would do it.
I think Serge would probably do it. Maybe Trez. But
I don't think Trez would. Trez likes the Clippers.
Trez on Lakers.
Trez Lakers.
Sorry.
Harry, wow.
Hey, man, I was gone for 6 months getting screamed at, all right? I don't want to hear anything. This is my first day of freedom.
So this is my guy. I mean, Harry probably knows this. I have like 3 of his jerseys because I'm an Arizona guy. Lauri Markkanen, restricted free agent. But I like him. I think he might do okay because he can.
What
shoot
are we
gonna
do with Lauri Markkanen? What are we gonna do with Lauri Markkanen?
He can shoot the 3 ball. He's like 7 feet tall. I mean,
yeah, but he's pretty much like Luke Cornett at this point. Like, that's what it feels like.
Whoa.
Like, that's what he turned into on the Bulls this year. That's what it felt like, at least.
Whoa, don't ever disrespect Lauri Markkanen like that.
Hey, completely off topic. Cross. Yeah. Remember at the very start of this season, we made our predictions for most improved player of the year?
Yeah.
I said Cam Reddish is going to have a fucking ball game for this season.
Yeah.
That boy's going off. That boy's going off. No, he is not.
He's not been going off, but okay.
He's a unit. He's an absolute beast. Don't talk about my boy Cam like that. Hawks are doing phenomenal. I refuse to believe that he's bad.
All right. Well, next one, John Collins, restricted free agent.
Oh,
realistic or no? I don't think it's realistic.
It's not realistic at all.
Yep.
But if we had something to like appeal to him, I don't think we have anything really to appeal to him because Tatum's our power forward.
But we could shift Brown to shooting guard and Tatum back to small forward where he likes to be.
I would love that. I would love that so much. But actually, you know what? I'm not gonna say anything's unrealistic at this point because we don't know what our scheme's gonna be coming into this next year.
Yeah.
They could literally take the offense we have and flip it and just say, all right, we're going to try the new stuff going on here. We're going to put 2 big men. Like, we're going to change the small ball thing we've been doing for. We're going to take Tyson to the power forward spot. We're going to put Thompson in the center spot.
Tice is gone.
Tice got traded to Chicago.
All right. Away from
I've been gone for that long. Been gone for that long.
Come on. You actually didn't know that?
I've been gone for that long.
Dude, all right, we're not going to talk to you anymore. Ian, John Collins, realistic or no?
Honestly, I love John Collins, to be honest. If John Collins was on the Celtics, I feel like he would be cool because he can play a small ball 5 at worst, but he can also play the 4, and we can keep Tatum at the 3. I would honestly love John Collins on this team. Will it happen? Who knows, but I would love for it to happen.
My last one, a hometown boy that I think is very realistic. Whether he'll leave is a different question. Duncan Robinson, restricted free agent.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Duncan, get him on. No, sign him for a max contract. Give him $144 million.
I love him. And hometown guy may want to come back. You never know.
The man in the
and guess what? We can offer Duncan Robinson. Most teams can't. We can offer him the best sponsorship. We have Dunkin' Donuts. Like, I mean,
America
you literally can't go wrong with that. So, like, you know, like that TikTok, Charlie D'Amelio got a drink at Dunkin' Donuts. I feel like if we
let's get our boy Duncan Robinson a drink. Who cares about Charlie D'Amelio? Let's get a Dunkin' drink. I mean, it makes sense.
Exactly. Boston runs on Duncan. There it is.
I'm the biggest advocate for Duncan Robinson basketball. All right. He is the man. He's Kyle Korver, but like times 50. All right. He's the man.
Like tall.
Tall, yeah.
Like actually useful. Like he's good. He's the man. But so back to this. So what do we get for Tice exactly? What happened there?
All right. So we dumped. What do we do? We dumped him off. We dumped off Tyson Javante for
Mo Wagner
and Luke Cornett. But it was basically just to dump him off because he's a free agent at the end of this year. The fact that you don't know this kind of concerns me. And then we ended up acquiring Fournier in a deal with the Magic.
All right, let me explain to you why I don't know this, right? So I was in boot camp for 3 months.
Yep.
I get out of boot camp. I get to Camp Geiger for 2 days, 2 days, 2 mighty days. I have good service. For 3 weeks afterwards, I have nothing because I moved to another camp. This is my first day having actual service in so long. So I'm just catching myself up on all this news. And surprisingly, I have not like brushed past Celtics much at all because I've been trying to focus on like the playoffs, how things are going. I know we lost. That sucks. 7-game series against the Nets. We went to 7. Or was it 6?
What?
How long did we go against the
Nets? 5
Oh,
games.
yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Let's go. Celtics. Woo.
I mean, the fact that we won one, I don't know why people are so
Against
mad
the
that
Nets,
the Celtics didn't do better. I mean, we were
I know
missing
Tatum
Brown,
dropped
so,
50 in one game, and we won at the Garden. Like, what else would you want?
Yeah, right. All right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it. I mean,
all right. So I got like 3 minutes till I gotta run outside, get some counts.
But yeah, I mean, I'm about to wrap it up. So
all right, cool. If I'm gonna leave it on anything, I'm really hoping for some veteran talent for once. Because we have all these rookies that we never even played. Like we didn't give them enough time to shine. The only one that actually got some time this year was Peyton Pritchard. And it looked good. He did good. But if Neesmith had more time with the ball, I feel like we could have actually done something good this year. Neesmith is a young kid with a lot of potential. I said it before coming into the draft that like Neesmith would be a real good fit for our team. We got him. I was pumped. Cross, I know you were pumped because you thought it was a great deal. I know you predicted that way back in 2019. If we did more with him, I feel like things would have went a lot better. But I remember you predicting him because I wrote it down. I made the post. I did the 4 cut.
I did predict that.
Man. So if I'm going to leave it on anything, one, we need to figure out our situation at the big man spot. I don't want to lose Robert Williams. I do not. We need Time Lord. We need him that bad because he's like our main asset right now. For like the big man position, he's holding it locked to you. I think Tatum should stay at the power forward. We can't give up Jalen. Whatever moves we decide to make in this offseason, we cannot give up Jalen because everything that he's shown us this year is everything that everybody's doubted him for the past 3. I've loved this man. I know he has the potential. I knew he had the potential to do this shit. It's finally the time he just clicked that spark plug and went off. Tatum literally took the backseat and said, all right, JB, go off. So, I mean, if we can keep them 3 in that solid position, dump everybody else. I don't care what happens because we're going to get a new coach. We're going to get a new scheme. And Brad Stevens at the GM office, we don't know what we're going to see next year. Mm-hmm. So at this point, keep our 3 guys that we know we can rely on. Do whatever you want with the rest. Leave it all up to the head coach and see where it goes from there.
All right. So, I mean, pretty solid closing statement. So I think that just about wraps it up tonight. Welcome back, Harry. Love having you on.
It feels good to be back, man.
All right. Hope everything's going
Ian,
well.
Nice to meet you, man. Ian,
nice to meet you too, man.
Yeah, and thank you,
Ian.
Hope
we can do some more stuff going on in the future. I know I'll have some more free time. So it feels good to be back with OffBeat. You know what I mean? These are my boys from home, man.
Thank you to Ian for joining us. Everyone go check out his socials if you want to plug those. You want to plug your socials right now so people go throw a follow?
Yeah, it's Ian Inangelo at Instagram and TikTok. Yeah. I mean, I pretty much just make a bunch of basketball, Celtics, sports stuff. So yeah.
Everyone go check them out. Always a pleasure when you show up on my For You page. So thank you for joining us. It's a great talk.
Of course. Thank you for having me on. I love to be here.
One secret announcement.
What? Let's hear it.
The OffBeat TikTok's coming back.
All right, let's go.
The OffBeat TikTok's coming back, and your boy's back running it.
Let's go. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back soon with another episode.